Quantitative research designs, descriptive research, correlational research, true experimental research, and quasi-experimental research. Quantitative research design is a blueprint, or a skeletal framework, of your research study. This type of research design is aimed at discovering how many people think, act, or feel in a specific way, or has the similar characteristics. Quantitative projects involve large sample sizes, concentrating on the quantity of responses. The standard format in quantitative research design is for each respondent to be asked the same questions, which ensures that the entire data sample can be analyzed fairly. There are four main types of quantitative designs: descriptive research, correlational research, experimental research, and quasi-experimental research. Descriptive research is a study designed to depict, or describe systematically, the facts and characteristics of a given population, participants, or area of interest, in an accurate way. More simply put, descriptive research is all about describing people who take part in the study. There are three ways a researcher can go about doing a descriptive research project. First is observational, defined as a method of viewing and recording the participants. Observational methods are used to document and describe animal and human behavior in a natural or artificial environment. Next is case studies, which involves an in-depth study of an individual or a small group of individuals. Case studies often focus on unusual or interesting cases that challenge assumptions, add complexity, or reveal something new. Case studies are good for describing, comparing, evaluating, and understanding different aspects of a problem. The third and last type of descriptive research is the survey research design, which involves administering a survey to a sample, or the entire population of people. Its purpose is to ask, examine, or describe the attitudes, opinions, behaviors, or characteristics of the population. Surveys can also be used to describe trends, and in determining opinions about policy. Survey questionnaire consists of predetermined set of questions that gather quantitative data, when opinions are reflected as level of agreement to statements about a specific topic. The survey method used could be telephone interviews, face-to-face interviews, or online survey. Other methodologies include SMS, or text message survey, or physical counts. Here are some examples of research questions for descriptive research. What do employers consider when hiring a new employee? What factors affected the college degree choice of high school students? What are the most common pressures that affect teenagers? What are the study habits of high school students? What is the level of marketability of personalized phone cases on grade school students? Here are some research topics for descriptive research. The learning applications typically used by grade school students. The factors affecting the bad sleeping habits of teenagers. How parents feel about online classes this school year. How senior high school students spend their time during summer vacation. The factors affecting smartphone brand preference among teenagers. The attitudes of workers regarding work during holidays. Correlational research is a quantitative method of research in which you are trying to determine if there is a relationship, or covariation, between the two variables from the same group of subjects. In correlational studies, you are looking for a similarity between the variables, not a difference between their means. Correlational research aims to describe and measure the degree of association between two or more variables, or sets of scores. Here are some examples of research questions for correlational research. Is there a relationship between attendance and the student's ability to participate in class? Does the age have any relationship with Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube usage among the youth? Does the student's attitude towards science have any relationship with his or her real-world problem-solving skills? Is there a relationship between mathematical skills and a person's interest to do business? And here are some research topics for use in correlational research. The relationship between an IQ score and success in a mathematics course. The relationship between intelligence and self-esteem. The relationship between smoking and lung disease. The relationships between the types of activities used in math classrooms and student achievement. The covariance of sleeping habits and freshman grades. The relationship between diet and anxiety. Experimental research. An experiment tests an idea to determine whether it influences an outcome. It is used when the researcher wants to establish a possible cause and effect between variables. Experimental research is commonly used in sciences, such as sociology and psychology, physics, chemistry, biology, and medicine. In an experimental study, researchers look at the effects of at least one independent variable on one or more dependent variables. The independent variable caused change in the subject. It is also frequently referred to as the experimental or treatment variable. The dependent variable bear or manifest the effects caused by the independent variable. It is also known as the criterion or outcome variable, which refers to the results or outcomes of the study. A good example of an experimental research is determining the effect of organic fertilizer on plant growth. In this type of experiment, there is the control group and the experimental group. Both groups were given the same amount of sunlight and water, and used same type of soil. But the control group was not fertilized, while the experimental group was fertilized. In this case, the independent variable is the organic fertilizer. This is the one that causes change in the dependent variable, which is plant growth. Also, the controlled variables, which must remain constant throughout the experiment, are amount of sunlight, and water, and type of soil. Another example of experimental research are clinical trials for new medicine. In such cases, the experimental group receives the new medicine, while the control group are given the placebo. The placebo looks like the drug or treatment being tested, yet specifically designed to have no real effect. Experimental research designs consists of two types. The true experimental research, which uses randomization of selection process, and the quasi-experimental research, which allows non-random process in selection of the subjects. True experimental research are research designs which use manipulation and controlled testing to understand causal processes. Generally, one or more variables are manipulated to determine their effect on a dependent variable. It has a control group. The subjects have been randomly assigned between the groups, and the researcher only tests one effect at a time. Quasi-experimental design involves selecting groups, upon which a variable is tested, without any random pre-selection processes, since randomization is difficult or impossible to attain. After this non-random selection, the experiment then proceeds in a very similar way to any other experiment. In quasi-experiments, an independent variable is identified, but not manipulated by the experimenter, and then the effects of the independent variable on the dependent variable are measured. Here is an illustration showing the similarities and differences between true experiments and quasi-experiments. Notice that it shows the presence of randomization in the assignment of participants for true experimental design. But this randomization is absent in quasi-experimental design. Here are some examples of research questions for experimental research. Does the use of audio-visuals in class have any effect on students' memory? Does playing pop music improve the problem-solving skills of students during online class? Does a meme-based ad on social media improve the marketability of the product, as compared to an ordinary ad? Can peer counseling lessen the stress and anxiety of students? Also, here are examples of research topics for experimental research. The effect of a new treatment plan on breast cancer. The effect of attendance on academic achievement. The effect of taking coffee on a student's school absenteeism. The effect of gender on math competence. The effect of self-esteem on the achievement of high school students. The effect of packaging material on the shelf life of a product. The effect of magnet on plant growth.